everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron, Omnibus Volume 1 through 3. Take a look at these comic covers right here. Now, the Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron Omnibus collects the entire X-Wing Rogue Squadron comic book run. Originally, the comic book was supposed to last for only 3 story arcs, but due to its popularity and, well, just how good it was, it lasted for 35 issues, or around thereof, with a few specials and annuals, and it had multiple story arcs. It was a very successful comic book run. Now, unlike a lot of other Star Wars comics like the Thrawn trilogy or Splinter of the Mind's Eye, etc., this is not an adaptation of a Star Wars novel. They are Rogue Squadron novels, however, these stories are separate. The Rogue Squadron novel takes place, I believe, 2 or 3 years after Return of the Jedi, where the X-Wing comics take place 2 months to a year after Return of the Jedi. So you can see that they are actually different. However, despite the fact that this is not an adaptation of the novels, one of the writers of the X-Wing novels, Michael Stackpole, is the writer of the comics. And Michael Stackpole can be put on the level of Timothy Zahn as one of the best Star Wars writers for the extended universe. He really understands comic book characters and novel characters in the Star Wars universe and the situations that they're put in. He's a very good writer, and I'm happy that he actually wrote the X-Wing comics. Now, in saying that, this does collect the entire X-Wing Rogue Squadron run, so I can't necessarily review each individual story because that would just take way too long. Instead, I'm going to talk about the comic series on a whole and what I feel about it, whether I like it or I don't, and talk a little bit about the characters. Now, X-Wing Rogue Squadron obviously deals with Rogue Squadron. If you don't know what Rogue Squadron is, then you're not a Star Wars fan. And if you're a Star Wars fan that does not know what Rogue Squadron is, then yeah, I'm a little disappointed in you. Rogue Squadron is the elite starfighter group that is part of the Rebel Alliance or the New Republic, depending on what era that you're reading it. And it is a elite group of ace starfighter pilots that was created after the Battle of Yavin, the destruction of the first Death Star. It was created by Luke Skywalker and Wedge Antilles. Now, Luke Skywalker led Rogue Squadron until the end of the Return of the Jedi, and then he handed the position of leadership over to Wedge Antilles, which was a good idea because Wedge Antilles was a man. See, Luke Skywalker wanted to start his Jedi stuff that he was doing, so he couldn't really commit to Rogue Squadron. Now, Rogue Squadron is the best there is that the Rebel Alliance has, and they fly almost exclusively only X-Wings. While sometimes they will fly other stuff like A-Wings or Y-Wings, if the mission really desperately needs it, usually 99.999999999999999% of the time, they fly X-Wings. They love X-Wings, and who to blame them? X-Wings are my favorite starships from the Star Wars universe, so I don't blame them one bit. The great thing about these stories right here is that it deals with the Rebel Alliance, and it deals with the Alliance in it itself. Sure, some of the main characters do show up like Luke, Leia, and Han, but they're very rare and very far in between. This doesn't deal with the Force or any of the Jedi stuff, which I do like, but it's nice because this doesn't deal with it. The Force very rarely comes up. There's only one story arc where the Force is actually dealt with, and there's no Jedis. Luke Skywalker only shows up in 1 or 2 issues, and Leia and Han only show up in 1 story arc. So really, this is about Rogue Squadron, this is about the Rebel Alliance, and this is very much a war story, which is nice because it is called Star Wars. So you would think. It has great terminology in it. When the dialogue was great. I like how they call the TIE fighters eyeballs. I just like the terminology that they use. Really great talk, really great dialogue in this. Each and every character is used very nicely. Wedge Antilles is obviously the main character in this, but every other character, it gives development. They shine. They have something to them. They're not just a character to fill out the ranks. Some of the characters that I loved in these stories were Wedge Antilles, Tycho, Baron Fells, Pelor, even Winter, who wasn't part of Rogue Squadron, but obviously was an important character in this. she really started to shine in this. I liked her in this better than I liked her in the Squadron trilogy, because she was actually a badass in this. But on a whole, the characters are all used nicely, and the great thing about this is they're not afraid to kill off characters. I mean, whether it's a minor or major character, they're willing to kill them off. Because this is a war story, that's the thing. This is about the Rebel Alliance versus what's left of the Empire. Now, the basic gist of these stories are exactly that. Rogue Squadron trying to clean up what's left of the Empire. See, after the Emperor's death, you can chop the head off of the snake, but the body's still there. You get rid of the Emperor, it doesn't mean that the Empire is not still around. They're trying to clean up and try to get rid of the Empire before someone can actually erect some power and regain control of the Empire. They start off fighting minor Empire stuff, like few regiments here and there, but then they go up against the big dogs eventually towards the end of the series. And they have tons of different locations that they go to. Different planets, different star systems, they go all over the place. Great action scenes in this, great fighter action scenes. It's really hard to pull off fighter action scenes, starfighters in comics, because, starfighters going against in a dogfight are really fast-paced and all over the place and all that. And it's really hard to capture that in a picture, but they pull it off pretty nicely here. I also like how Stackpole is loyal to what actually is the schematics of the ship. How many fire blasts it takes take out a starfighter like the X-Wing or the Y-Wing, or how fast a TIE fighter is. I like how he stays loyal to the actual schematics and the actual abilities of the starship. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, definitely. I cannot recommend these enough. The only problem with X-Wing Rogue Squadron is that there was not enough of it. They stopped it after mandatory retirement, I believe was the last story arc. And it would have been nice if they kept it going. However, if you want to read more of Rogue Squadron, you can always pick up the novels, which I have on good authority are slightly better than the comics. Only slightly. My friend Doug, who have you seen in many videos, has read the books and also the comics. So he has a better perspective on the novels than I do, because I haven't read the novels yet. And he said the best way to compare the two is that X-Wing Rogue Squadron is an A+. The comics, well, the novels are an A++. There's very little wedge between them, but the novels are slightly better. In saying that, this is still some of the best extended universe stuff that you can get in the comics. The Squadron trilogy is still my favorite, but this comes in a good second, at least right now. I'm still picking up more extended universe stuff, and I'm still reading more stuff, so who knows, but this is really good. I really love the feel of this. I really love the characters of it. I really love everything. So once again, Volume 1, 2, and 3 collects the whole entire X-Wing Rogue Squadron series. You can pick up the individual story arcs in trade, but they're hard and they're rare to find, and it's not worth it. I recommend doing the omnibuses, and I do recommend buying them online, because they go for about $24 to $25 in store. I mean, this says $24.95, roughly $25. So they're a lot of money for the omnibuses. If you get them online, you can probably get them cheaper, around $16. Plus, Volume 1 is kind of hard to find. I've only found it at one store, but yeah. Omnibus, Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron, pick it up. With that said, this is Andrew saying, peace out for now.